So Mary, here I am looking at your second lesson plan, and this is the one where you really wanted to focus on the descriptive writing. And again, I like this one a lot too. I like some of the pieces that you're doing, continuing to give them very good steps to follow, so that if they make a mistake, or really have a breakdown in meaning, you can easily check back with them as far as where their breakdown in meaning happened. And I also like the fact that your check for understandings are very explicit and that you want the kids saying a lot of those pieces back to you. In this, hold on, bear with me one sec, okay? I like the hook that you have in here. This is great. Imagining your day in the life of a movie star, and then having them apply that dream thought, to how they would do their narratives. And I really like your model here for the show don't tell. It's something very meaningful to you, and you're asking them to do something meaningful to them. And it's very well done. It's very intentionally done on your part. So I like the modeling a lot. I did scroll down and look at your worksheet for modeling and the sample sentences you had, and I thought they were very nicely done too. So here's your insertion of, your little grammar mini lesson. Very good. I'm glad that you're asking them to remember those adverb and adjective questions and ask them why those are important to using them. And so the breakup between the partner practice, the independent practice, and then you working around helping them, I think is a really good use of class time. So here's your third lesson plan. In this one, you're still having them continue to write, but you're doing active, passive, and some more grammar stuff in there. Bear with me while I scroll. Okay. All right, so obviously you have them experience before you label, and you talk about the difference between word order. In this, you want to be, when I scrolled down and looked at your handout too, you want to be a little careful here, because you're right that subject, verb, object is active voice, but it's kind of weird to explain that even in passive voice, it goes subject, verb, indirect object. So even though the object moves to the subject position, the object still becomes the subject. And I didn't see, I read through carefully to see if you had explained that piece, and I don't think that you really did. And so, yeah, I don't know how exactly you want to explain that. It's tricky, because we want to say, like, when the object moves to the subject position, it, one, becomes the subject, and two, makes a passive voice. So you want to, I don't know, just be sure that you're really clear on that. And then also you want to talk about how the verb phrase changes. So this is going to change from a single action verb into a helping verb plus an action verb, always when you use passive voice. So just tighten up a little bit of your content instruction on that one. Right, hold on, I was going to show you an example. Hold on, bear with me. In this one here, I didn't see you swap it. Oh, wait, I know. Let's just go down to your handout. There we go. Right, the spider was killed. This is still subject, but then I have verb phrase. So see how I have a be verb plus an action verb here? I'm always going to have that verb phrase when I'm doing passive voice. So Sarah bought season tickets for Disney World. I go subject, object, subject, verb, object, indirect object. Okay? So even though the spider moved from the object position, it has still become the subject. I hope that makes sense. Like in number 5, the teacup was knocked off the counter by the cat. Subject, the teacup, was knocked becomes your verb phrase. Off the counter actually is a prepositional phrase. And then by the cat is actually a prepositional phrase functioning adverbally. Whew, you even tested me a little bit on this one. So make sure that you just get, tighten up your conversation on that one a little bit, okay? So here's your revision lesson plan. And this one's really well done too. I loved the model that you included in here, that you had one intentionally that was that have some of those missteps in there, checking for step one, the fluency and logical order part. The one thing I thought that might make this a little bit stronger for your students, you have a step one here and a step two and three, right? And you model it. But having a conversation about some concrete ways in which to check can be really helpful. So you say, is there a logical order of events? Does each event lead to the next event in a seamless manner? There should be no confusion for the reader, and your events should be chronological. Well, now do they always have to be chronological? Because what if I have a flashback, right? This one works that there should be no confusion for the reader, but the reader shouldn't have to wonder how they got to the next place in the narrative, because the narrative should be explicitly telling them through each piece. It still feels pretty abstract. You may want to provide a concrete strategy for them that just may talk about the idea of transition words or sentences, such that if a reader feels confused at a moment, like, wait a minute, what just happened there? Then, okay, use this strategy of having a sentence that has two clauses in it. One clause that grabs the main idea from the previous idea, one clause that grabs the main idea from the forthcoming idea and puts them together in a sentence. And then model that. You can do dependent clause, comma, independent clause, like, because she was crying, comma, her cat jumped in her lap, or whatever, right? But give them something really concrete, not just here was step one, but here was step two as well. Who's to say if there are enough descriptive details, if there are any places in the narrative that are dull and disinteresting? If it was a moment designed to do nothing but move along plot, maybe I didn't want to stay there, and build in a lot of descriptive detail. But in a moment when, it's really climactic for my protagonist, I do want to stay there and provide a lot of descriptive detail to help people get into that moment. So provide them some kind of concrete criteria for deciding when is enough, because that's kind of an abstract idea. But other than that, so make a few changes in those concrete pieces to help kids understand how to bridge the idea from an abstract reasoning of writing into the concrete idea of writing. Okay?